Imagine a world where time simply stood still at the end of the 19th century. While skyscrapers made of glass and steel shoot into the sky all around you, the Amish communities remain in an architecture of permanence and simplicity. It is not just a clinging to old customs, but a conscious decision against modernity. How can a community survive in the 21st century without ever really crossing the threshold of the Industrial Revolution? You are looking today at the wood-paneled facades and the strict lines of a building culture that places functionality above any pomp. When you travel through the rural areas of Pennsylvania or Ohio, do not see magnificent cathedrals, but rather the monumental simplicity of barns and residential houses built according to centuries-old plans. The architecture of the Amish is a mirror of their soul, clear, robust, and completely free of decorative ballast. Every single beam tells a story of faith. Every shingle on the roof is a silent prayer against the transience of our modern world. You might think they are stuck in the past, but in reality, they have mastered a way of living that we are only now beginning to rediscover through sustainable design. Before you dive deeper into the secrets of these wooden time capsules and understand why their roof structures are so unique, I would like to invite you to become part of our community. If you share the fascination for historical construction and the visual reconstruction of past worlds, then subscribe to this channel and activate the bell so that you do not miss any of our architectural journeys through time. The journey begins in the 17th century in Europe, but its structural heritage only unfolds in its full glory in the New World. A typical Amish house is often a massive two-story building made of wood or brick that impresses with its sheer size. Have you ever wondered why these houses often look so strangely proportioned? The reason lies in the social structure. Often you find so-called grandfather houses, which are added as extensions directly to the main house, so that the generations can live under one roof but still separately. This modular construction is an architectural testimony to the extreme cohesion of the family. The roofs are usually steep and covered with simple metal or shingles, while the windows are arranged symmetrically, which gives the buildings an almost strict, sacred calm. There are no decorated columns, no ornate shutters, and certainly no electrical lines that deface the facade. Inside, there is a void that is almost painful for modern eyes. The walls are painted in plain blue or green tones, and carpet are usually avoided in order not to endanger humility before God through material luxury. But the true masterpiece of Amish architecture is undoubtedly the barn. Who has not seen pictures of a barn raising, where a huge skeleton of heavy oak beams is erected within a single day? Here, the technical brilliance of the 19th century is shown in its purest form. Without a single metal nail, only with wooden pegs and precise notches, cathedrals of agriculture are created that have defied storms for over 100 years. Is it not paradoxical that these people achieve aesthetics without computer calculations that is in no way inferior to modern architecture? The construction of such a barn follows the principle of timber framing, as it was perfected in the southern German and Swiss regions in the 18th century. You use gravity and the natural tension of the wood to create spaces of gigantic span. These buildings are not museums, but living places of work in which the smell of hay and freshly sawn wood fills the air. But the absence of electricity poses enormous challenges for the architects. How do you light a huge building without risking the danger of fire from open light? The solution lies in the clever placement of skylights and the use of natural drafts through precisely placed ventilation slots. It is an architecture of absolute necessity. Every beam has a function, every window a purpose. When you look at the settlements, it is noticeable that there are no church buildings. Why do these deeply religious people not build houses of worship? The answer is as simple as it is radical. The church service takes place alternately in the residential houses or barns of the community members. This means that the architecture of the private houses must be so flexible that they can suddenly accommodate 100 people. Partition walls are often constructed so that they can be folded up or moved, transforming the entire ground floor into a single, sacred space. The house is therefore a place of residence, a workshop, and a temple at the same time. This multifunctionality is a concept that you celebrate today in modern architecture as an innovation, while the Amish have been perfecting it for over 200 years. But what about the water supply and the heat? In a world without electricity, they use windmills to pump water from the deep and massive cast iron stoves that stand in the center of the house. The chimneys are often the only vertical lines of solid masonry that break through the wooden structure. It is a fascinating mixture of archaic technology and manual perfection. The Amish do not just live in the past, they have preserved the aesthetics of the year 1850 and adapted it to the requirements of nature. While you make yourself dependent on technology in your smart homes, they prove that a building can exist solely through the quality of its materials and the cleverness of its design. The burning question remains: how long can this architectural isolation exist in a world that is moving closer and closer together? When you drive past a simple wooden house next time, stop and look at the details. Maybe you will see the wisdom of an era there that you thought was lost long ago. The silence of these buildings speaks louder than any modern building style. It tells of permanence, faith, and a deep rootedness in the earth. A life in the 19th century is not just a journey back in time, but an architectural statement against the transience of our modern world. You can feel the heavy weight of the history in every single joint and every hand-carved peg. Have you ever considered that these structures are built to last for 5 or 6 generations? Unlike our modern suburbs, which are often designed for a lifespan of only 40 or 50 years, an Amish farm is a legacy meant for eternity. The wood is seasoned, the foundations are laid with stone from the very fields they plow, and the layout is dictated by the sun and the wind. In the winter, the kitchen becomes the warm heart of the home, where the heat from the wood stove radiates into the upstairs bedrooms through simple grates in the floor. In the summer, the wide porches provide shade and catch the cross breezes, acting as a natural air conditioning system that requires 0 watts of power. It is a masterclass in passive solar design and thermal mass, all achieved before those terms even existed in a textbook. You see, the Amish are not just avoiding technology, they are mastering the environment through pure architectural logic. Every structure you see in their settlements is a testament to the fact that beauty can be found in utility and that a house can be more than just a shelter. It can be a moral compass. As you look across the rolling hills and see the silhouette of a massive bank barn against the sunset, you realize that you are not looking at a relic, but at a living, breathing defiance of the fast-paced world. Think about the sheer physical effort. Each beam of white oak can weigh hundreds of kilograms. They are lifted into place with nothing but ropes, pulleys, and the collective strength of 200 men. Is this not the ultimate form of social architecture? The building itself becomes a bond that holds the community together. They do not use cranes, they do not use power drills, and they certainly do not use laser levels. Instead, they rely on the keen eye of the master carpenter who has memorized every angle and every joint. You might find it primitive, but look closer at the joinery. The mortise and tenon joints are so tight that they swell with the humidity, locking the entire building into a single solid unit that moves with the earth. It is organic architecture in its truest sense. Even their colors are symbolic. Why are so many barns painted red? In the 19th century, red was the cheapest pigment, often made from iron oxide and linseed oil. It was a choice of economy, not vanity. The white of the houses reflects the summer sun, keeping the interiors cool during the humid Pennsylvania summers. Everything is calculated, everything is deliberate. As you walk through these villages, you notice the lack of power lines. This creates a skyline that is incredibly clean, almost alien to our modern eyes. Without the clutter of wires, poles, and satellite dishes, the pure geometry of the gable roofs stands out against the horizon. It is a visual palate cleanser. You begin to realize how much visual noise we accept in our daily lives. For the Amish, the house is a sanctuary from the world, and that sanctuary must be kept pure. But do not be fooled by the lack of gadgets. Their kitchens are marvels of mechanical engineering. Hand-cranked mixers, gas-powered refrigerators, and intricate pulley systems for laundry. They have found a middle ground between the year 1800 and today, a secret path that allows them to maintain their identity while surviving in a capitalist landscape. Can we learn something from this? In a time of climate crisis and energy uncertainty, the Amish architectural model offers a radical alternative. What if we built houses that didn't need a power grid to function? What if our homes were made of materials that could return to the earth without leaving a trace of toxic waste? This is the hidden mystery of the Amish. They are not just living in the past, they are guarding a blueprint for a possible future. Their buildings are monuments to the idea that less is indeed more. As the sun sets over the valley and the lanterns begin to flicker in the windows, you see a world that is quiet, grounded, and profoundly beautiful. The architectural history of the Amish is not a closed book. It is a living manual for how to build with integrity. It is a reminder that the most sophisticated technology is often the one that has worked for 1,000 years. The human hand, the solid oak, and the spirit of a community working as one.